Hello there, this is Mr. Rusty, also known as the Candleman. I am currently walking through an area of nature that is not too terribly far from the city, so you will be hearing the noises of the city along with the noises of nature, as well as me stomping through some bushes of these trails. While I am walking through these trails, I will be taking glances at my clock on my cell phone so I know that I won't be going too terribly far, or long I should say. I'll be walking good and far during this, but I will not be talking too long while this is going on. There's a nice low flying airplane overhead. Take a little pause here. Now's the time to think about your day. Self-reflection. Did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish? If not, how close are you to accomplishing what you wanted to accomplish? You start with small goals and you build up to big goals. Okay, now that's passed. So, some things that I wanted to bring up in this unofficial podcast that I'm creating with the aid of certain video editors and YouTube. I've decided to go ahead and bring back an old idea and having a podcast type form of media to go along with my blog, for the sake of allowing my blog to have a podcast feel to it. I wanted to do this with another form of media, another website. However, the terms of use for this other website and the terms of use of Blogger and Google AdSense did not mesh or mix well. And in fact, when I did have it linked, Google AdSense did not like it, so I took it off, and then I tried to add it again after I was approved for Google AdSense, and they sent me a friendly little email that basically said, you should review the terms of use and watch this video on the terms of use to make sure that you remain in good standings with Google AdSense. So at that point I took down the links that I had. The issue was that this other website allowed anything and everything to be posted and uploaded to the website. And Google AdSense is trying to create a family-friendly environment for the family-friendly businesses who would like to have their ads displayed on Blogger, YouTube, and other Google-owned or partnered websites. And for reasons that this other website that I was using allowed anything and everything on it, and there was no family filter of any kind in which you had to be logged into an account of a user that was 18 years or older. I could not link it. Because the issue is that if I link a website that potentially links another website or has something on it that is meant for mature audiences only, then it's a no-go. But YouTube is owned by Google and Blogger is owned by Google, and I'm definitely allowed to take my own videos from YouTube and link it or embed it to my blog, and then write a little bit of something about what I'm talking about. So this is just kind of an introductory. The idea of having a podcast-like program linked to my blog is back. And maybe in future shows I will have a different location. It's just this particular location is not too terribly far from my current spot where I live. It's just unfortunately there are plenty of noisy airplanes flying quite low. So maybe in the future I'll go further up the road to some other trails that I also enjoy hiking. And I'll do little walk and talks there as well. So moving onward with some things I would like to bring up. I am still having the desire to try to be dairy free, or at least have the amount of dairy that I consume reduced, just to see if I feel any more awesome than I have been feeling. I had a major cheat meal the other night. I had everything that I was trying to avoid. I had ice cream. That's actually the main reason I was doing that no dairy thing, so I couldn't eat ice cream. But I had ice cream, I had pizza, I had breadsticks, I had soda, and let's see. What else is there? I had some string cheese, as well as, I think that was about it, actually. So I had lots of different types of dairy, but I also had lots of things that had a lot of sugar in it. So in the past, I was eating a string cheese, which is perfectly okay for the Jorge Cruz 100 diet plan. But I've been reading more and more about having more of a paleolithic diet plan. And to be paleo, you basically are eating things that are either as they were straight from the ground or immediately harvested from the tree. That were also things that were accessible to early man. So that kind of leaves the potato out. And corn is a no-no. Basically anything starchy you wouldn't be eating. But any animal that they could potentially take milk from, they wouldn't farm to milk. They would kill it and eat it. And so there are plenty of paleo dieters who they eat in a fashion that is like a hunter. And then others, they have a paleo diet plan that is more like a gatherer. So if somebody does the hunter style, they're going to be eating 70% meat. And it's, well, and there's different types of paleo dieting even with that. Some people, they only eat the really fatty parts of the animal because it was believed, based on the bone structures of some of the ancient inhabitants of this planet, that they ate a lot of the like really fattening stuff, which isn't actually bad. They just feel really good and full. And then after they have their big old feast of meat, they might have some vegetables. So 70% animal product, and animal meat or fat, and then the remaining 30% would be vegetables. And they'll drink lots of water. And then there's actually others that they consume more meat than that, more animal than that. It might be like 90%. And then there are people who, they go on a Paleolithic diet, but they're more of an early person of, they're a gatherer instead. And so it's switched. It's maybe 50 to 70% vegetables. And then the rest of it is animal. So the hunter, like maybe they're hunting down woolly mammoths. They rip off their fur and they wear it as a nice coat. And they eat as much of that meat as they can. The most fattening parts. And they use other parts of the body, the bones and things of that nature, as tools. And then, as time moves forward, they might, gather up some vegetables along the way, and they eat plant. As they are traveling, trying to get that woolly mammoth. Or whatever was around. I know somebody's going to yell at me and say, hey, I don't think the woolly mammoth was around the same time man was around. I don't know. I was just making an example. And then the gatherer, they mostly just kind of gather all of the plant vegetation that they can. But then there's little rodents kind of crawling through the vegetation. Little mice and rats and rabbits, because they're kind of eating that same vegetation. It's like, hey, you're taking away from what I'm trying to get. So they kill those guys off. But it's like, well, we killed it, so we might as well eat it. But it's a much smaller amount they would be eating because it's a smaller creature. So there's a lot of debate as to which version is better. The gathering style of paleo or the hunter style. But something that I did learn from Gary Taubes is that fat is not bad. Fat does not make you fat. And in fact, I continually bring up the 100 because that's kind of the basis of how I started eating the way that I'm eating now. But there's certain portions of his book that I just choose to ignore. And the portions that say that the protein that you have should be trimmed of the fat. It should be lean meat that's trimmed of the fat. I ignore that part, and I gladly eat a good fatty steak, no problem. And I don't have much issue with as long as it's cooked right. I have no problem eating the fat. And when I eat bacon, I have no problem eating the bacon fat because I cook it so that the bacon fat is good and crispy. The fat that's on the steak, it should just kind of melt in the mouth, no problem. It's not overly chewy and gross. But some people like chewy and gross. I don't. And then with the bacon, I go ahead and I use that bacon grease to cook other types of food. But some people, they say, yeah, eat the brain, eat the tendons, eat the fat. I'm like, oh. Whenever I get a chicken tendon, which sometimes I do get those, I basically just kind of lose my appetite for a couple minutes. Because it's not a pleasant experience for me. But, I don't know. Then again, I was raised to basically be an eater of cereal, so I'm very much used to the textures of cereal, that just kind of a little bit of a crunch with, something easily chewable. I suppose if I was raised eating paleo, like some of these really advanced paleo eaters are, and they eat the fatty stuff. They eat the liver and the brain and whatever else. I'd probably be perfectly okay with having a little chicken tendon. I would say, good. So, just kind of a learning experience. I've only been doing this diet since last July of last year. And sometimes it's been a little bit of a struggle to maintain the diet plan, but so it's the 100 with some paleo influences, and maybe over time I'll just kind of say that I'm a paleo guy, but then just kind of say, but I started with the 100. I don't know, I feel like maybe I could head towards being paleo, but that means no cheese, so let's give it a try. And then I need to figure out how to get good quality calcium, because that's basically how I have been getting calcium my whole life, is through dairy products. I could always eat the dairy products, but some dairy products would cause a spike in the blood sugar and cause me to become fat. And in fact, always just kind of taught wrong. I think maybe in the future, when I choose to have a cheat day with dairy or whatever. Maybe I'll just try to get a small carton of like whole milk, because it's not the fat that's the issue. It's the sugar. It's the natural sugars of the milk that's the issues. And also, I kind of wonder if my body is able to process dairy as well as it used to. So I'm going to really attempt to be without it. I think maybe I will allow myself to have the protein powders in the future. That does have some dairy in it, unless I choose to get a non-dairy protein powder. But realistically, the protein powders are for those who are like really into weightlifting, bodybuilding. And something that I've heard is that if you're really into weightlifting, the goal is to take your weight, and however much you weigh, that's the number of grams of protein you're supposed to have daily. If you're really into lifting weights. If you are not trying to become a bodybuilder and build up that muscle, then I wouldn't worry about getting that much protein. But I don't know, maybe sometime later I do want to have big, huge muscles. So it kind of depends on what occurs in the future with certain things that are pending right now. And I need them not to be pending. Maybe later I'll go into greater detail of what I'm talking about. But certain things are pending right now, and I really need to take out the hammer and just really slam on whoever and whatever is causing it to be pending right now. I need to have an answer of yay or nay for certain things that I've been waiting on for the last little bit. The things that I've been working towards, the original purpose of me losing the weight in the first place. But if it doesn't go through, I do have other plans, and realistically I'd like to get into fitness and nutrition and just kind of help people lose weight so they can be healthy and happy. I'd be more than happy to be an ally with so many medical professionals who are trying to attack the issues of obesity, of both children and adults, and type 2 diabetes, and all the health issues that are caused from type 2 diabetes and obesity. So, and even if this other thing does go through, I think I would like to do that anyway, later down the road. So, maybe later I'll go into greater detail as to what I am talking about. But I thank you, regardless, for listening to my unofficial podcast that I'll be uploading to YouTube here in the next little bit. I think I'll just have it black screen until I figure out how to make an image go all the way through. And maybe in the future I'll do more videos where I actually make a video and then I just kind of dub over what I'm saying. Or, I mean, of what I'm doing. That's what I meant to say. Well, I'm keeping that in because I was closing up, so I'm not going to start over. So I wish you the very best of luck with your personal fitness goals as well as other ambitions in life. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.